Welcome to Coffee and Monsters, Episode 1. My name's Jeremy. I like to make polymer clay, derpy, fun monsters. Hope you can join me each week as we make one. I usually start with aluminum foil, sometimes aluminum wire, but this one's just going to be aluminum foil. I like to use the surface of my table to help tighten the foil up. Here I'm just layering the clay, using a tool to help even it up. This is a blend of some cosclay polymer clay. These are glass cabochon eyeballs I like to use. Squish. Squish. I'm just blending in, at least roughly blending in. The eyelids are very important when it comes to the vibe of your creatures. Depending on how you shape your eyelids, you can really change the entire look of them. I always like to start with the eyes because that gives me more of an idea of what the creature's whole personality is going to be. I make texture tools out of polymer clay to roll texture on my creatures. I've got several that I've made, but I think this is probably my favorite one that I use. And areas I can't get the tool into, I'll just use a ball stylus to sort of mimic the texture. This is some glow-in-the-dark cosclay. I love using the glow-in-the-dark clay for the teeth, horns, sometimes the toenails and stuff. Here I'm just adding a little texture and characterizations to the teeth. Now that's what I call a derpy smile. At this point, he kind of looks like an anxious avocado. It's time to make the donuts. I'll go ahead and make some little legs and arms for this guy. Ah, yes. Monster bones. Very important. I like to line this up. Just offer a little support to squish that leg into. Use a little oven baked clay adhesive to help bond it. And squish. Anytime I make arms or something like that I'm going to have multiples of, I like to roll my clay out and divide it up evenly so I can make somewhat symmetrical pieces. If symmetry is what I'm going for, that is. I like to roll the texture on these before I attach them. That way the texture kind of goes all the way under the arm. Don't have to try to put it on there afterwards. A little bit more difficult that way. Blend, blend, blend. Gets his first donut. Now it's time to make him a little coffee cup. And this needs a little monster bone so it doesn't decide to separate when it's in the oven. Sometimes I'll pre-bake little things like this to add to the sculpture, but this was not one of those times. Every good coffee mug needs a handle. Now it's time to sand. He's already been in the oven. I like to sand my sculptures just to make sure the paint has a really good adhesion. I don't always like to seal them, so this way the paint will make sure and have some longevity to it. Ah, Dusty. He works hard. Kind of reshaping the coffee mug a little bit with some sandpaper. Make sure you got a good clean surface. Thanks, Dusty. All right. I'm going to try to avoid brushing my paint all the way into the deep recesses of the texture I've created and just get the paint to sort of lay on the top surface of the texture. Get a little bit of depth built up. I'm doing this by using a slightly lighter green than what the clay is. I wish I really could paint this fast. That'd be awesome. Using my heat gun to dry up this side so I can handle it and do the other side. I don't have the patience to sit around and wait for paint to dry. And let's just drift him out of camera view for a little bit. do an actual dry brush with a little bit lighter version of that first green. Now it's time for some accent colors. Little UV resin to help amplify the glaze on the donuts. Might as well have a pink glaze donut, huh? I get some sprinkles on there too. Monster bones are very versatile. Go ahead and get some paint on my base. I always like to do 2 or 3 coats of paint on them to make sure that they're got a really good coverage. Now when it's time to attach this to the base, I've drilled some holes in the bottom of the sculpture and a few shallow holes in the base so that the epoxy can both flow up into the sculpture and down into the base and sort of create a lock when everything is nice and cured. I do this on sculptures that don't have any kind of supports running through them. But that's my coffee monster all finished up. I appreciate everybody watching the video. Please hit like and subscribe. Come back each week and watch me make a derpy monster. Until next time, this is Jeremy. Thanks for watching Coffee and Monsters.